See, Pastor, we are not babies and we hear God's voice too. If my husband was not convinced, he would have told me. We both are only seeking for ways to make this marriage work better, but you want to drag us back.
Mom, I told you she's a very good girl and you would like her a lot. You can see that I'm very right.
Timmy boasted. Molola laughed sheepishly. She was enjoying the accolades that Timmy was showering on her in the presence of his mom. Well, it's true that when you see a well-trained child, you would recognize her. You are from a good home. In fact, your parents trained you well. Where did you say you hailed from again? Timmy's mom asked.
I'm from Abeokuta, ma. That's where both of my parents hail from, and they are still living there till now, Molola replied.
Oh, Abeokuta people are very nice people. I used to have a friend back then in secondary school at the boarding house. She was from Abeokuta. She was my bosom friend. Her name is Fumilayo. I really wish I can still reconnect with her. I don't even know her whereabouts anymore.
Yeah,
Molola replied in sympathetic manner. Timmy led her to the laundry room where she packed the clothes and used the washing machine to wash them. While the laundry was on, she went to Timmy's mom to tell her that she would like to wash some of the clothes manually because they are of high quality fabrics. Oh, that's quite thoughtful of you. Thank you so much. Please go ahead. Timmy's mom smiled at her. When it was time for her to leave, Timmy's mom asked her why she wasn't spending the night, and she told her she would have loved to, but it's against her personal principle as she was still unmarried to her son. She said that in order to win Timmy's mother's heart, so she would have the feeling that she wasn't a desperate person. Oh, wow. That's a very good principle. You are really representing your parents well. Please, keep it up. Timmy, you see the difference between this girl and those gold diggers you have been bringing to this house? This one is going to be her homemaker, not her home wrecker, Timmy's mom said. She gave Molola some money before she finally left.
Mission partly accomplished,
Molola said on her mind excitedly as Timmy drove her back to her house. Mrs. Oladipupo stayed with her husband for 3 days before she traveled back to their base. She sold daily items in a shop on their street, so she needed to return home so that she would not lose her customers. During her stay, she took very good care of her husband by cooking his favorite set of meals and as well satisfying him on bed. She bathed twice daily and took proper care of her body, wearing seductive attires every evening in order to lure her husband to bed, and of course, he never refused her. Her husband said to her one of those evenings,
When you can be this nice, why have you always tortured me? Bimpe, why do you choose to make this marriage a hell for both of us? Why can't we just enjoy this peace?
Banjo, forget about the past. Have realized my errors. Let's not talk about the past again. I promise to make it up to you and take very good care of you, she assured him. Oladipupo was so happy because of the positive change in his wife. On the night before her departure, after she had satisfied her husband's pleasure, he asked her,
How much did you say you need to buy some goods into your shop?
Just 150,000 naira,
she replied happily.
Okay, I'll make it 200k. I'll transfer the money to you tomorrow.
Aww, that's so sweet of you. How were you able to raise the funds?
She asked.
The government just paid our promotion salary in arrears, which they owed us since 2 years ago.
Oh my goodness, that's a whole lot.
You can say that again. It's a little above 1.8 million naira. They've paid us since last month.
Really? Wow. And you never told me about it.
Tell you? How and why would one talk to you when all you do around the house was to behave like an evil spirit?
Ha 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 ha.
Mrs. Oladipupo laughed loud and said,
I have changed now. I don't even know why I was behaving that way. Don't even remind me again. The past is gone.
Okay, I pray it's really gone.
Definitely, dear.
She started to stutter as she rubbed her husband's chest.
What is it? This one you're rubbing my chest. I know you definitely want to ask for money.
Yes, so please, I need to change some of my personal items like bags, shoes, and jewelry, including buying some new clothes and nightwears.
Chai, women, I know. After I added 50k extra to your request, you are still asking for more. I know that once you know I have money, that money is in trouble already.
Yes, nah. Are you not working because of me?
Yes, so because of you and the kids. You need to see the way my colleagues at work spoke admirable things about you yesterday. If all you need is what would make you look nice out there, I'm ready to do it for you, he laughed.
Oh, that's my darling. She hugged him passionately.
Women and money. I have become a darling now.
His wife laughed.
So, like how much would you need to get those things?
Just 200k will be sufficient for me.
Alright, consider it done.
Thank you.
Mrs. Oladipupo shrieked happily.
Don't forget the 10,000 naira you owed me also. So that makes it 410, she added.
Her husband's jaw dropped.
Which 10k? He asked.
The 10k you borrowed from me during your niece's wedding, the one you used to get her a gift.
Ha! You this woman, wedding of 2 years ago. Do you know how many times I have given you money after then?
Yes, you gave me money for different purposes, but you didn't specifically return my 10k. Borrowed money is different. Please return the money you borrowed,
she said to him in a romantic manner.
Ha! Women and money. So you cannot overlook 10,000 naira. Okay, Motigbo, I guess we men have come to this world to serve women. Because what is this?
It is what it is, oh.
She laughed. Her husband only shook his head and smiled simultaneously.
One more thing, please. I hope you would be able to grant this final request, she said.
Just ask me anything. If you can continue to make me happy like this, I will also not hesitate to do anything for you. Ask me whatever you want. Up till half of my kingdom, I will do it for you.
His wife laughed.
Kingdom indeed.
Yes now, I'm a king in my own domain. So speak and it shall be done.
Thank you, my lord.
Mrs. Oladipupo replied jokingly and then said with a serious expression.
Banjo, I want us to change our church. Let us not attend Life for All Chapel again.
What? Why? Elder Oladipupo asked with a shocking expression written all over him. Why would you want us to change church? This is the church we both have been attending for years. We have roles that we play there too. Why on earth should we change church? If at all we would be doing that, then it would be on the basis of relocation. If we aren't relocating to another city or another country, why should we change our church?
Elder Oladipupo protested gently.
It doesn't have to be because of relocation only. One can change church when one feels one has stayed there for so long. I just don't feel comfortable going to that church anymore. Most especially after the drama that played out between me and that Molola lady. I feel we should just go to another Christian gathering where people have not known us. A fresh association where we would be honored. It's for our own good, for the emotional balance of our family.
Mrs. Oladipupo explained in a persuasive manner.
Okay, I will think about it. But honestly, I don't feel like leaving that church at all. Molola's issue is not enough to make us leave that church. We have been grounded there, and the roles I play in that church are very important. How do you expect pastor to get a replacement?
They would definitely get someone else. If something bad happens, God forbid, and one dies, wouldn't they get a replacement?
We won't die young in Jesus' name. I understand your point though, and like I said earlier on, I would like to sleep over it and think over the matter.
He assured her. After his wife had slept off, Elder Oladipupo ruminated over his wife's request over and over again. It wasn't as if he couldn't leave the church, but he didn't just want to leave a church he has been attending for years without a clear leading from God to do so. And at the same time, he wanted peace in his home. He toyed with the idea of changing to another branch of the church, which was far from their home. But what reasons would he give to the pastor and other members of the marriage committee? He knew his wife so well. If he ever refuses to grant that request, their home will be on fire again. He was at a crossroad. The next morning, his wife asked him about his decision.
Have you thought about it? What is your decision concerning my request now?
Please, give me enough time to think. I need to process the whole idea. This was never in my agenda, so I just have to consider and reconsider the implications.
You don't need to consider any implication. It's not as if we are backsliding or something. We would simply tell them that we've been attending the church for many years, and so we feel like having a change of place of worship,
she suggested.
And you think it's that easy? You think they will just take that as an excuse from me?
And who are they to decide for you when you are old enough to take decisions for yourself? Who are they to question your decision? I believe your manner of approach to the issue would determine how they would handle it. Just tell them you and your wife has come to that decision after so much careful consideration. You don't have to present it to them like you want them to ratify or stamp it. You have made up your mind and that's final, she said emphatically.
Well then, let's see how it goes. We hope it goes peacefully.
Why not? Who would argue against a decision taken by a matured couple? We aren't babies. We can decide for ourselves. My place of worship is important. I need my peace of mind there. I don't want to be in a place where rumors will be peddled around about my home.
Okay then, if that's what would give you joy and restore the peace on this home, I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
That's my darling,
Mrs. Oladipupo chimed as she hugged her husband passionately.
So, is that all? I mean, is that all I need to do to give me peace in this home? If yes, then so be it. It is stamped. We will go to another church. I'll communicate to pastor soon. Just be patient till they release us willingly and pray for us.
Okay there. Thank you so much. You are the best.
She traveled back home that very morning. Modupe picked her phone and dialed a friend's number. The lady's name is Rolake. She was one of her junior colleagues in the university, but they still kept in touch. They used to do school runs together back then on campus. They slept with old men and married men for money, popularly called sugar daddy runs. Rolake was currently based in Ile-Ife because that was where she got a job.
Rolake, long time. How are you doing?
Modupe greeted her. Mama the mama. Dupsy the mama. Wow. Today is a special day. This one that you deemed it fit to call me. How are you, Mama D? Rolake responded in a cheerful manner.
Yes, so it's been a while we talked on phone. We normally chat on WhatsApp once in a while. I'm fine. How is life with you two? How is work?
We keep pushing. How are you doing it? How are your kids?
We are fine, thank you. Rolake, there's one man I want to hook you up with in that your location at Ife. He works over there, but his wife stays in Lagos.
Modupe started the conversation, which was the main reason she called. Man, Mama Dupsy, I don't do it anymore. I have decided to be serious with my life. At 35, no husband yet. I want to be serious so that I can at least get a serious-minded man to settle down with.
Listen to me, Rolake. This package is different. It's a long story, but I'll just try to summarize it. There's this friend of mine. She treats her husband anyhow. She doesn't respect him at all. In fact, if you see the man, you would pity him. And he is a very handsome and caring man. So gentle to the core.
Really? Chai, this life no balance at all. Person wey get cap no get head. Rolake replied.
Exactly, my dear. If my husband was like this man I'm talking about, I would be thanking God for a happy home.
So what exactly do you want me to do about it? What's my own role here?
Rolake, I want you to arrest this man's heart totally. I want you to give him the peace he has never had in his life until he stops going back home to his wife. This man is not a womanizer at all. But I know if you want to get a man, you surely know how to do that. I trust you. Thank God, you and the wife have the same stature and complexion. It wouldn't be difficult to seduce him. You are just a bit taller than the wife, but you are younger and more beautiful. The man really likes big busts and backside. According to the wife, that was what attracted him to her. She once told me this, so I remembered you are this man's spec. That was why I reached out to you, and thankfully you are in the same location. I just wanted to teach the woman a lesson so that by the time you release the man to come back home, she would have gotten some sense on how to treat her husband.
I think I'm getting the idea now. She doesn't know how to use her husband, so we'll teach her how to appreciate what she has.
That's why I always pardon you. You are too smart.
Modupe laughed satisfactorily, glad that her revenge mission on Bimpe was gradually taking shape. Give me the home or office address of this man. You can trust me to over-deliver, but you have to tip me.
Haba, don't worry about that one. I will give you more than whatever you ask for. I just want that woman to cry. I want her to find her husband and not see him. I want her to feel the pain of not having a man beside her.
Consider it done, sis, Rolake replied with a tone of confidence. 2 weeks after Mrs. Oladipupo suggested that they should change church, Elder finally summoned the courage to inform the pastor. He was shocked to hear the news.
Whose idea was this? Yours or that of your wife?
Pastor Cole asked straight away, without mincing words. Through experience, he has seen a lot of partners being manipulated by their spouses in their marriages. So whenever he sees such manipulation, he could spot it immediately. After the misunderstanding that led to Elder Oladipupo getting admitted into the hospital, he had noticed that the couple became unusually closer. Also, for 2 consecutive times, he had heard Mrs. Oladipupo hurrying Elder up each time he wanted to stop by to greet him at his office before leaving after church service. And thirdly, he observed that Mrs. Oladipupo has been trying to avoid him and his wife. From all these strange observations, he already knew what Mrs. Oladipupo was up to. The answer is simple. She was trying to take her husband far away from where he can be helped, and also she knew that joining a church where no one knew her true behavior would enable her to maltreat her husband for as long as she wanted. Elder Oladipupo replied Pastor Cole's question.
We both agreed, sir.
Okay. Why, sir, if I may ask?
Actually, we just felt we should have a change of environment. We have been considering this for some time now.
Elder replied, trying to cover up for his wife. Pastor Cole smiled.
Elder,
He called out in a friendly manner.
Yes, Pastor.
I am not a baby in this ministerial assignment. You might be older than me with a few years, but when it comes to marriage, I have seen a lot too. I know you so well because we have worked closely together since I was transferred to this church 6 years ago. This is totally your wife's idea, and I am over 100% sure.
Elder Oladipupo fidgeted on his seat.
Well, Pastor, since you could guess it, then I do not need to hide anything from you again. My wife complained that she is no longer comfortable with staying in this church because of what Malola said the other time, and because of the way she was behaving towards her. In her own perspective, she feels it's because of the over-familiarity which people usually call see-finish. And I think I also reasoned with her.
You reasoned with her. How about God? Did you reason God along with her? Has God permitted you both to go ahead with this decision?
Elder sighed. He knew he never prayed about it. He only wanted peace in his home, and that was all. He stared at the wall ahead of Pastor Cole, not knowing the response to give.
My guess is correct, I think. You never prayed about it. Elder, let me tell you a few things. Like I said earlier on, you might be older than me, but permit me to advise you like your younger brother. You see, in this life, our decisions can either make or mar us. A lot of people trivialize the place of decision making. They use their logical reasoning to reason it out, and they just go ahead to take major decisions about their lives without asking God. You have been in this church for a long time, and I know how much your presence has been of help to so many homes and has even blessed many of our youths in one way or the other. I don't have any doubt in my spirit that this is the place God has planted you to function. We don't know the service we render to God that makes God to bless us in return. When people don't know what they do for God that makes God happy with them, it's easy for such people to compromise such deeds for one reason or the other, and what happens in the end? Disaster. The Lord has been blessing and rewarding you for your service before Him. You are fulfilling your purpose here, and God is blessing you for it. We should not change church like we are changing clothes. The decision of a place to worship is a spiritual decision, and as a matter of fact, a place of worship is a place of the things a child of God should critically seek the face of God about before arriving at his decision. The Bible says, two are better than one. Your wife is supposed to support you in this ministerial assignment, but from the little incident we witnessed between you two, it is obvious that she has rather chosen to tamper with your peace of mind. I'm sorry to say this, elder. When a spouse faces abuse in his or her home, it is a tragedy for him or her to cover up the abusive spouse. Why are you covering up for her? Elder, don't let your wife push you to leave a place where God has planted you. Even if you are the one who conceived the idea to vacate this church, she should be in the best position to ask you both to wait upon the Lord till you hear from Him. That is her ministry as a woman in the home. She should be your helper, but she's pushing you to make a decision that doesn't align with God's plan for you. When Lot chose the best part of the land that felt so right in his own eyes without asking God, we never read where his wife asked him to wait on God for assurance. They moved together and they both suffered in the end. In fact, she was the one who suffered the greatest loss because she didn't come out of Sodom alive. Elder Oladipupo. Just like Lot's wife, would you rather follow your wife's advice and suffer for it in the end? Is it not better that you wait on God for His clear leading? Pastor Cole admonished.
I totally understand you perfectly, Pastor. The issue is, I just want peace in my home. I don't think anything is wrong with joining another church since we are all the same in Christ. I'll continue to render my service to God over there as I have been doing here. My home is my first ministry. If I don't have peace in my home, how would I serve God acceptably with all sense of commitment?
But deep inside you, elder, do you feel your time is up here?
No, I don't. But like I said earlier, I just want peace in my marriage. That is why I have to do what will bring peace.
But your personal peace of mind comes first. Be a wise Christian, my brother. Don't allow your wife to be the head of your home. There is a reason God made you the head. You are the head of your home in the order of Christ over the church. Try to be a man for once. It's not all the time you allow your wife to control you.
And who says I am controlling him?
Mrs. Oladipupo burst into the pastor's office suddenly. She has been eavesdropping into the conversation between her husband and Pastor Cole. She had become restless when her husband told her to wait in the car while he went ahead to see the pastor about their decision. So she had to stay nearby to listen to what was to transpire between them. When it got to the point where Pastor Cole mentioned that her husband should be the head of the home, she knew she had to do something so that Pastor Cole would not end up winning her husband's heart against her own desire.
Mrs. Oladipupo, why did you just enter like that without knocking?
Pastor Cole challenged her. He was annoyed with what she just did.
I had to, because I heard every single thing you have been telling my husband. See, Pastor, we are not babies and we hear God's voice too. If my husband was not convinced, he would have told me. We both are only seeking for ways to make this marriage work better. But you want to drag us back. I know you are trying to persuade my husband to stay because of his financial commitment to the church. Yes, I know the game you are playing.
Mrs. Oladipupo shot back.
What? Financial commitment?
Pastor Cole asked in shock.
Dear, please wait outside. I'll join you. You don't need all of these.
Never. We are going home now and that's final.
she replied authoritatively. Pastor Cole watched the drama the couple was playing.
Why are you like this, Binte?
Like what? It's like you don't want peace in this house again. I can see that you love crisis more than peace. Well, make your choice. I have both in my hands, she said and stormed out of the pastor's office.
Pastor, you see what I'm saying? Even God will support me for trying to make peace with my wife if all she's asking for is a change of church. Pastor, I don't want to die early. Let me just do her wish.
Elder pleaded.
Okay, sir. Please go ahead and join her in the car. I want you to have a peaceful day. Please run along.
Pastor said, and Elder exited the office with the speed of lightning.
God, please save your son from this toxic marriage. Why am I having a feeling that apart from the wife maltreating him the more after leaving this church, everything would also start going wrong in his life? Jesus, please, for the sake of all the services in this church, do not let your canopy of protection depart from this family wherever they go to.
Pastor Cole prayed. Molola waited for Timmy at the venue of the hotel room where they planned using for their proposal party. It was a Sunday afternoon. She had insisted that Timmy must propose to her officially like the type she sees all over social media. She had always fantasized about how her own proposal would take place, under the applause of friends and well-wishers with the cake, balloons, the ring, the camera, and of course the regular chant, "Say yes," by friends. After a groom-to-be would have gone on one knee to ask for her hand in marriage. Timmy wasn't planning for such a show-off, but Molola insisted. She was the one that went to book a hotel room for herself, and they got every other thing ready, the decorations and all. Molola ensured one of her friends captured the whole show. She entered the room while Timmy was waiting on one knee with a ring in his hand, trying to play out the script Molola wrote for him. She pretended to be surprised at the whole arrangement immediately she entered the room where Timmy was waiting, alongside a small crowd of her own friends. She shed some fake tears after Timmy had slipped the ring on her fingers. After the whole show, she uploaded the video on her Instagram account with the caption, "What a huge surprise. I never saw this coming. It's official. I'm becoming Mrs. Smith very soon." As usual, just like their usual manner, her fans started tapping into her grace and they congratulated her. "If I'm not getting this kind of proposal, the man should not even consider marrying me at all," one of her female fans replied to her post. Immediately they got home after church service, Mrs. Oladipupo unleashed her anger on her husband even before she could lock the gate of their compound after he had driven into the car park. She had kept quiet unusually during the journey back home.
So, if I didn't come and barge into the pastor's room, that was how you would have allowed him to be preaching unnecessary sermons to you, right? Was that our agreement? All you needed to do was to inform him and leave. She challenged her husband immediately she stepped out of the car.
And so, when he was trying to talk to me, I should walk out on him?
Elder interrupted her angrily.
You should have given him an excuse that you have an appointment or something. Why are you behaving like a child?
No, I'm even a child. You should take a cane and spank me. You asked me to take a step, even though it's against my wish. I still went ahead to do it. And here you are still condemning me for trying to listen to the pastor. Mind yourself, this woman. You have started your trouble. I have honored you enough by leaving the pastor's office and coming back at your wish. So kindly let me be.
While they were arguing, they didn't know when a woman entered through the gate of their compound, which was still wide open. The woman was the occupant of the next compound. Ẹ ṣe sùúrù. Please try to iron out this issue amicably. She tried to mediate between them.
Good afternoon, ma. Thanks so much. Elder appreciated the woman.
Please, whatever happens between you and your wife, don't raise your voice against her. Try and be patient with her, Ejo.
Hey, Ejo, don't get involved in this matter. You were passing by. You should have continued to pass by and ignore us. Who are you to tell my husband how to talk to me? Who made you the judge here?
Mrs. Oladipupo attacked the woman. I'm even fighting for you here and you're still insulting me.
Don't fight for me. As long as I don't come into your compound to meddle into your affairs, don't meddle into mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, the woman calmly replied and walked out of the compound. Mrs. Oladipupo locked the gate after her and said to her husband, "You see what you caused? Let's just go inside before the whole neighborhood would gather on top of our head."
Inside where? So you can hit me with your wooden spoon as usual. I'm going back out there until you are done unleashing your fury.
Elder said and got back into his car. Mrs. Oladipupo quickly grabbed the door of the car before he could close it.
Haba, it's not up to that nah. I just wanted to let you know that I wasn't pleased with what you did. That's all. You don't need to go anywhere. Let's enter the bedroom and settle the matter. Don't mind the pastor. He's the one that wants to cause trouble between us again.
She succeeded in awakening the sexual appetite of her husband and he followed her into the house, sulking like a toddler. After much futile attempts by Pastor Cole and his wife to make the Oladipupos stay back, the pastor finally released his blessings. Mrs. Oladipupo was happy that she finally achieved her aim. She boasted about her achievement to her friend Modupe.
I have finally snatched my husband from the grip of those gluttons that call themselves pastor. The pastor and his wife didn't want us to go because of my husband's ever constant financial commitment to church projects. But I'm glad that I have finally achieved my aim. At least, the money he's wasting on those unnecessary church projects can stay in his hands now. I will have access to more of it to boost my business. I need my husband to move far away from them so they wouldn't be controlling him or poisoning his mind against me. They were the ones that instructed my husband to stay away from me and lodge at a hotel the last time we had a misunderstanding.
Give me a high five. Modupe shook her friend's hand. You are learning so fast. In fact, you have really mastered this game more than I do. I'm happy that you didn't take chances. Your pastor shouldn't be the one controlling your home. You are the one in charge, and so you have to take charge. Don't allow anyone to rescue your husband from your grip. Thank God you have already taken care of his family members, so you have him all to yourself now. Let me see how he would follow anyone's advice to go against his wife.
Yes, so nobody can do that. No friend, no family, no pastor. I have my husband to myself. The marriage is just me and my husband. All thanks to you, my friend.
Don't mention there. You see, since the time my marriage hit the rocks, I have promised myself to rescue every other woman who might be taking the wrong steps so that they wouldn't lose their marriage too.
I owe you a lot of gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank God. Then don't lose guard. It's time to withdraw the seduce him to yourself method. So now you can go back to the old method of starving him of sex in order to get him to do your bidding and also collect whatever you want from him. Withdraw the regular sex. Let him always come back to beg. There is no one he would report to you to any longer, so you can turn him to a toy in your hands.
I get you perfectly.
Good. About 2 weeks after their conversation, Mrs. Oladipupo reported to Modupe how she made her husband bribe her with some money before he had his way with her.
I love this new way of making money.
Mrs. Oladipupo had laughed over the phone. The tigress herself. You're doing well, Bimpe. I'm happy you're catching up. Modupe laughed too. After she had dropped the call, Modupe called Rolake immediately. Hello, Rolake. Concerning the man I told you about, it's time to strike. Find your way to his office this week and book an appointment with him this weekend. I don't know how you will do it, but just ensure you use all the tactics you can to befriend him. Do all you can to ensure he doesn't come back home to his wife this weekend.
What if he refuses?
You know what you can do to lure him to do it. Do it, girl. Is it not the same Rolake that I know?
You are right. I haven't seen a man who would not fall for my moves. I'll feed you back. The man would spend the weekend right on my bed. I'll even send you pictures.
Now you are talking. I trust you. Modupe hailed her. Rolake sighed after the call.
If this man would give me all I want in a husband, I would simply turn this prank into a reality. If a woman doesn't know how to use her husband, Someone like me that values her husband would grab my copy. She smiled mischievously.